And greetings from Ottawa, or the Ottawa area. We actually had to go back into Quebec to get here to Camp Fortune. As you can see, the zip line and the tram or whatever, the ski lift to get to the top. Just got off the mountain pipe coaster here. Very unique compared to all the other alpine coasters I've ever been on. It's a single rail, one break in the middle. Honestly, kind of more terrifying than the other ones. I was also worried about my phone and my wallet and my keys because they weren't in the best pocket. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty interesting. No lift hill. You have to take the chairlift to the top, and then you get on the cart. Like I said, single rail. Definitely smaller too than the usual alpine coaster carts. I don't know if it was honestly one of the first times I've ever been scared on, I think, on an alpine coaster. There's just not a lot keeping you there. It's smaller. It was interesting for sure. A new manufacturer too. Usually these are all Aquatic Development Group or Wagon, but this is the first time I've ever been on this manufacturer. Honestly, forgot what it's called, what the brand is. The manufacturer is Sun Kid. It was good. But we have one more coaster to go back get in Ottawa. This SBF Visa spinner, and then we're on the long and winding road to Toronto. It took me about 3 hours in the rain to get up here to the Ottawa area, and now we're gonna head back down the mountain, go get that spinner, and then head off to Toronto. Making good time. It is only 11:40. It just opened. The coaster just opened. I was first rider of the day, so there was no one in front of me. But honestly, I was more concerned for my phone and stuff. I was braking the whole time. But anyway, we're gonna head to Fun Haven now. I keep wanting to say Fun City or Fun Land, Fun Town. There's so many fun themed amusement parks out there. But right now we're gonna head to Fun Haven. Just got back to the car. We're gonna head to Fun Haven back in Ottawa, Ontario, and get that cred. So let's go to Ottawa. We have made it to Fun Haven, and they have right on the window roller coaster. That is why we're here. Let's go get on it. Alrighty, Fun Haven. Wow. I didn't think I'd have much to comment on one of these spinners because I've been on probably about 20 or so at this point. I feel like I'm kind of used to them. I understand how they are. I've been on, like I said, almost 20. I've been on them all over the place. Tennessee, back home in Massachusetts, now here internationally. And that was by far the roughest spinner I think I've ever been on. That was so bad. It's showing its age because I saw that it was on the IAAPA show floor back in 2016. So this is I feel like these spinners have just been popping up everywhere. They're always so popular, and like they keep adding new ones all over the place. But this was pretty old. This is a 10-year-old SBF spinner, and man, it was showing its age for sure. That was very bumpy. Usually those rides aren't very smooth. And the seats aren't very comfortable, but wow, I'm kind of blown. My mind is kind of blown on how bumpy that was. Like I said, it's showing its age. It's 10 years old. It came all the way up here from Florida from IAAPA. So I don't think, out of all the ones I've been on, I don't know if I've been on any other IAAPA ones. I'm going to have to check that. I think there may be one other one that used to be at IAAPA. I'm not positive though. I'm going to have to look into that, and I'll put it back in this video at some point. But okay, then it's done. Off to Toronto. Okay, so I just checked coaster count real quick. I have been on Spinning Out at Beach Bend, that was at IAAPA, and I've been on the Skyflyer at Dino's, which I just actually did like less than a month ago. So those are my other two IAAPA coasters. So this is my third one that I've actually been on that was at an IAAPA convention at some point. Okay, now off to Toronto. And we have made it to Oshawa, Canada, 50 minutes from the Airbnb to Neb's Funworld. Bonus cred time. Let's go inside and check it out. Well, since I think I have some spare time, I might as well ride. said we wouldn't be done with milers on this trip, and we just got done with the miler here, former Python pit from Jeepers in Maryland. Now it's called the Spare Time Express. Weird name. Very rough and bumpy, but that's to be expected. Okay, we have made it to our Airbnb finally. That was Funworld. Don't really have too much to say about it. It's just a small little entertainment center. I shouldn't really say small because it's pretty big compared to most of the ones I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of them to ride kitty creds, as we saw today at Fun Haven as well. But we still have daylight, and we're right down the road from Canada's Wonderland. I may have saw it on the way here. I saw at least Yukon Striker, Behemoth, and Leviathan. So there's 18 coasters to get. We have a lot of coasters to get over these next 3 days. And of course, the big number 500. We could hit 500 tonight, which is crazy to think about. We're at 493, which was the Spare Time Express. So we just need 7 more coasters. We're in a little bit of a predicament though, because we're going to go to another amusement park first thing tomorrow morning. So we either need to get 5 coasters tonight, so that one could be 499, and then I can hit 500 back at Canadas Wonderland, or I just have to hit 500 tonight and go beyond 500. So I mean, it's not a bad problem to have. I just kind of have to plan it out accordingly. I can't get stuck at 499. I can't leave Canadas Wonderland at 499. So once we get closer, we'll start figuring out what it's going to be. I totally don't already know what it's going to be. You never know, things can be closed, so we might have to have a backup plan. But we're going to head over to Canadas Wonderland, and we are going to start the countdown. We're at 493, so 7 more to go. Let's go. We have made it to Canadas Wonderland. To say that I'm overwhelmed would be an understatement. The last time I was at a park with this many coasters was Magic Mountain. So you don't get to go to a park with this amount of coasters very often. So I am just completely overwhelmed. I was struggling to find where to park. I'm struggling find where the entrance is. There's so many coasters I can see. Of course, Leviathan stands out the most. Alpine Fury. I see Wonder Mountain. I saw the Boomerang. I saw Yukon Striker, Behemoth. So there's so many. I can't wait. This is like being a kid in a candy store right now. This is just like, I don't even know where to go first. But I gotta keep tally until I hit 500, and then I can just start riding whatever. So let's try to find our way in. This is pure insanity. So majestic. The music in the background. Wonder Mountain. It's insane. This is crazy. I think I'm actually going to head towards Wonder Mountain, because that is where Wonder Mountain's Guardian is, and there's also a handful of coasters that incorporate Wonder Mountain into the ride. So we're going to start out with the Wonder Mountain coasters and just keep going from there. This is so insane, but so amazing and gorgeous. This park is so beautiful right off the rip. I can't wait. I'm going to really enjoy these 3 days here. Well, I think we're going to just get it out of the way now since it's here. Might as well get it over and done with. 494, the bat. It's just exactly like Boomerang at Laurent. The restraints were actually different though, so I guess it's not exactly the same. Cushier headrest, slightly better. Only slightly. Okay, there's a wooden coaster, which I don't know which one it is, but I think it's Mighty Canadian Mindbuster. I could be totally wrong about that. No, it's Wild Beast, Wildebeest, whichever way you pronounce it. We're going there next. Wild Beast lives up to his name. Wow, that thing hurt. That was Jackhammer City. So bad. Holy wow. So rough. I need a minute to process how terrible that was. I am going over to, I'm going to say it's Dragonfire, but I was wrong on the last one, so we'll see. if I'm right this time. So Dragon Fire, classic arrow, double loop, double corkscrew. My favorite of the three so far, but it's not saying much. It's old. It's got its bumps and bruises. Reminds me of Canopy Corkscrew. The very first time I went upside down was on Canopy Corkscrew. So that was $4.96. I'm actually gonna head to Wonder Mountain now. Try to hit that and Thunder Run. Okay, Thunder Run, so good, so fun, my kind of ride. It makes me want to go more and explore what's inside Wonder Mountain. I think we might have to go do that. Okay, just got off Wonder Mountain's Guardian for $4.98. Only good part about that ride is the vertical drop. The coaster element is very lackluster, obviously. The shooting is horrible. The screens are terrible. The drop, that's the only good part. I'm gonna try to run over to Fly and get on that for $4.99 and see if I can sneak over to what I want 500 to be right before park close, because it is now 9:33. It says Fly is a, oh no, I'm going the wrong way. Oh no, going the wrong way. Gotta get to Fly. It says Fly is 20 minutes. I'm hoping that's a lie and I can sneak on Fly and then hop in the queue really quickly. Hopefully they're not like La Ronde and we can actually get on into the queue before 10. And guaranteed to ride. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's see if we can pan out. It is 9:51. Still not on Fly yet. Not looking good. I'm in total disbelief right now. I got off of Fly at 10 o'clock. Alpine Fury queue was closed, but Leviathan wasn't. And I'll get into more detail later, but Leviathan is what I wanted to be 500. So it's after hours. I got in the queue at 10:03. We'll see when I get on it. So they closed the queue behind me. There's only 3 people behind me right now. So we should be last ride of the night. Leviathan, 500, last ride of the night. Can't get any better than that. Holy cow, we just clutched up so hard right there. 500th coaster, Leviathan, night ride. Second to last ride, unfortunately. They let the train before us go again. So it was second to last ride, not last ride. I gotta talk over the copywritten music. But yeah, 500, Leviathan, back row, night ride, second to last ride. I mean, you can't get any better than that unless it was actually last ride. But still, absolutely insane way to end the day. 500 coasters even. We'll be back here tomorrow to clean up the park. But that's it for me, day one, Canada's Wonderland. 500 coaster, Leviathan, done and dusted. Oh, hey, Leviathan. You just drinking some liquid death? That's cool. So we have made it back to the Airbnb. What a wild day this was. I mean, going all the way from Montreal up to Ottawa, getting a coaster up in the mountains, and then going down the mountain again to go to a little SPF spinner. It was god-awful. Trekking our way over to Neb's for the Spare Time Express, which was also horrible. And then still pulling into the Airbnb with enough time to bang out 7 credits over at Canadas Wonderland, including number 500, Leviathan. I want to kind of talk about my milestones since I've only posted 1 video on this channel. And I want to talk about my 500th being Leviathan and kind of my thought process as to why I wanted it to be Leviathan, as well as just reiterate the craziness that just happened at the end of the night there. So I decided to go on Wonder Mountain's Guardian for $4.98. And I figured, based on what I knew about the layout that I had seen so far, that I would be able to get over to Fly or possibly Vortex. But the apps for Canadas Wonderland was not very good. It wasn't showing me hardly any wait times. Like certain things weren't changing. It was like I didn't know. So you really can't go based on that app because there's not a lot. It wasn't telling me like what Wonder Mountain Guardian was like. It wasn't telling me like any useful information like for me for the night. So I didn't end up going down to Vortex. I figured I had it said 20 minutes for Fly. Probably can get on that. So I got on it. There's people using Express Pass. There was all these kids little kids in front of me in a whole group that they were trying to get sorted out, and I was like, there's no chance that I can get on fly and then make it over to Leviathan. So I pretty much said, okay, if I can get off this ride at 9:58 and go over and sneak into the queue for Alpen Fury, I'll do night ride on Alpen Fury for 500, and that would suffice. That would be good enough for me. Leviathan probably would have still been in the back of my mind, like me wanting it to be Leviathan, but I was gonna settle for that. So I walked over, 9:59, Alpen Fury, the queue line closed. I'm like, okay, we're gonna just have to come and do 500 tomorrow. But I decided, might as well try to go on down and see what Leviathan looks like. I wasn't gonna run, wasn't gonna be obnoxious like that. I took my time. 10:03, I see people walking into the queue line. The guy is up front, is distracted by a bunch of people talking to people. I'm like, okay, this is my chance. Hop in the queue line. I'm like, you saw the video. I was like, right as soon as it happened, I'm still in disbelief that I was able to hop in a line right like 3 minutes after the park was closed. Like, I've only ever snuck into lines like 9:59 right at the last second buzzer beater, and it closes once I'm in the line. But to get in line at 10:03, and like, it's just still crazy that I was able to get in there at 10:03, and then 3 other people joined after me. So I was like, okay, it was only about 30 minutes, and they were running 3 trains, and that line was going like crazy. They were pumping through people. I didn't end up getting last ride. I was the last people to actually board the train, but then they ended up sending the group that was before me around for another lap. And we tried to get another lap, and they didn't let us get another lap. So I was second to last ride of the night, and it was a night ride. So that's always great. It was incredible. The ride was great. No complaints absolutely whatsoever. Big fan of Fury 325, so I knew I was going to like Leviathan, even though it was a little bit older. But the reason I wanted Leviathan to be number 500 was because when I first started getting into roller coasters at around 2011, 2012, 2010 is when I first rode Bizarro at Six Flags New England, and that's the one that really got me interested in roller coasters. And then 2011, I went to Hershey and Universal, and it like just solidified my love for them. But then I became like a full-on like obsessed with getting creds and like all these little coasters, and like just full-on obsession around 2012, and that was when Leviathan was built. So I remember following that and following Swarm at Thorpe Park, the construction for those, like so closely. And I don't really follow construction updates now. Like, tell me when it comes out, and tell me when it's built and when it's ready to go. Like, that's all I really care about. I don't nerd out over the construction or anything. But back then I was into it, and Leviathan and Swarm were those 2 rides that just always stuck out to me. So Swarm, maybe I'll get that as a milestone someday. I do like wing coasters from B&M, so I wouldn't mind that. But 500 for Leviathan was always the plan. I would have settled on Yukon, Striker, or Behemoth, or Alpen Fury if something was wrong with Leviathan, but I wanted Leviathan since I planned this trip like over a year ago. When I got my passport for the first time, I said 500 if I can get in range. It will be Leviathan, because it just reminds me of when I first got into roller coasters and how new and exciting it was. And today was a very exciting day. Overwhelming because there's so many coasters to get, but we got 7 of them done, so we just have 11. I'll probably try to go first thing tomorrow morning. Probably try to get on something like Alpen Fury right away before that line gets insane, and then try to head over to Camp Snoopy for those, because those close early, and then just keep working my way around the park. Daredeviler had like an 85-minute wait, and I'm really hoping that was just today and that time, because if I have to wait that long for an SLC, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But the other milestones I've been on that I wanted to just briefly talk about. The first one was the roller coaster at the Enchanted Forest in Rhode Island. It doesn't exist anymore. It's long been demolished. The sign is still there for it, of exit 3 in Rhode Island if you're going through Rhode Island. And I remember specifically riding that with my grandfather when I was a little kid. And so from there, 50 would have been the Cyclone at Coney Island, like absolute historic coaster, one of the most well-known coasters of all time. Probably, I'd say behind like the Santa Monica West Coaster, it's like the most popular, like most known, recognizable coaster of all time. And then 100 was one of my favorite coasters, and still is one of my favorite coasters, El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. Still in my top 10, probably top 5. Have to ride it whenever I'm at Great Adventure. 200 would be the first ever RMC, New Texas Giant. It wasn't my first ever one. I ended up riding Wicked Cyclone on Media Day with Coaster Force. So I rode that before I ended up going down to Texas for New Texas Giant. And then 300 was a fun one. Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. On top of being a coaster lover, I am also definitely a Disney lover, a Disney adult. I only went once as a kid, so all the times I've gone have been since I've become an adult. I really think it's the best way to experience Disney. So I was a coaster lover first and the Disney lover second. So I was happy that I was able to get a milestone at Disney. 400 was rather tumultuous. I took 4 trips to this park, going to this park since the coaster opened, and it being closed every single time. Finally getting on it once, and it actually broke down in line when I was waiting for it, and that is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. Dollywood being one of my favorite parks, I still is. Nothing against it, but that ride was a nightmare to try to get on, and I still have only been on it once because I haven't been back since then. And that 400th would have been in 2021. So I have had a huge gap in riding coasters. I got back in last year. I went to Colorado, did a bunch of things up there. Went to Disney and Universal. And I went down to Six Flags America before they closed. So I was able to go to Hershey. I got to ride Jersey Devil, A Great Adventure, and Flash. So a bunch of other things around that area. Went to Beach Bend in Kentucky. And then this year I've been to Epic Universe, Magic Kingdom. Where else have I gone this year? Oh, well, I just got back from Luna Park in Brooklyn. I did a day trip out there. So this was my real big trip for this year, though. So I've just done little things here and there, some fair coasters, trying to bump the numbers up to try to get to 500 here at Canadas Wonderland, and we accomplished that today. So now begins the road to 600. I promise it'll be a lot quicker than 400 to 500 was. There's a lot going on in that time period, in that time frame and I wasn't riding coasters, but I'm back and I don't plan on stopping. So, and I plan on filming more and doing more videos at the parks when I go to them. So we'll wrap up this right here, and tomorrow's plan, Canadas Wonderland all day. The next day we have a bunch of random creds to clean up, so I'm going to try to go to 3 different places that day and then end up at Canadas Wonderland, and then the following day a couple other random coasters in the Toronto area, and possibly could end up at Canadas Wonderland that day as well. So possibly 4 days in a row Canadas Wonderland, bunch of other creds, on the road to 600 now. But 500 couldn't have been better. Even though it wasn't the last ride of the night, I'll still settle for second on the last ride of the night. And I was able to get a cute squishmallow of my 500th coaster. So I'll put in a funny picture I took right outside the exit at the end, right after I cut this off. But that's it for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow at Canadas Wonderland, cleaning up the rest of the park, seeing how that goes. Bye.